Eject. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. This is another Paralegal Reacts, and we are going to discuss Amber Heard's counterclaim. This is part 2 of a two-part, I guess. I will link the first part down below. Recommend watching that one first if you haven't seen it, because I break everything down. This is more so gonna talk about excerpts from the counterclaim. Just because it was going to be too long. But yeah, and it's going to be too long again unless we get right into it. Okay, so excerpts from her counterclaim and what my reaction was. Oh yeah, I was going to just say, I didn't really get any feedback about leaving the transcript in the description. I'm not sure if that was useful, but I'm going to do that again just in case that it is. But yeah, anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so the first excerpt from her counterclaim, she says as follows. Mr. Depp was not satisfied simply to allow Miss Heard to move on with her life. Instead, he continued to victimize her by repeatedly telling friends in profanity-laced messages that he would destroy her, would never stop, and wanted her replaced in an upcoming film. So, I don't know, for me personally, I think that we've all been screwed over by an ex, or honestly anybody, and we get mad, we vent to our friends, and we say crazy things that we want to do to them, but never will, because it just makes us feel better. And there's a difference between venting to a friend and going to a publication and smearing someone all over the media. And Amber Heard was the one who brought this up again in her op-ed in late 2019. She was the one who wouldn't let it go, and Johnny just simply had enough of it and was just defending his name. And these were messages that he was sending to his friends as well. That's another thing I want to add. It wasn't something that he was sending to her, harassing her, saying threatening to kill her. It's just him venting to a friend, as we all have and we all do. Then Amber Heard goes on to say, not content to let a jury decide this lawsuit, Mr. Depp and or his agents acting on his behalf have orchestrated a false and defamatory smear campaign against Ms. Heard that has included false and defamatory statements to reporters accusing Ms. Heard of being a liar and a hoax artist, and accusing Ms. Heard of the crime of perjury. And I don't know what to that I would respond. That, as opposed to Amber Heard, it has been proven through text evidence in the UK case, invited TMZ to the temporary restraining order hearing, and then decided to go appear in person, despite not having to. She did just to create a media firestorm, and she has slandered Johnny in the media time and time again. If you accuse someone of something and they call you a liar, that you're lying, that's not defamatory. It is a response because you initiated the action, if that makes sense. And they're simply defending themselves against your allegation. Johnny is claiming that you defamed him, and it is up to you to prove that your allegations are true, and that's on period. Just because the burden of proof lies on the accuser doesn't mean you can turn around and accuse him of defamation or even anything else. And then in order to shift the burden of proof, because that's not how it works. No matter what you try to do, whatever deflection, blame game, it's still up to you to prove that the allegations that you made against Johnny are true. Otherwise, you are going to lose this case and subsequently lose your counterclaim. Gosh. And then Amber Heard goes on to say, through this counterclaim, Miss Heard is finally, after all these years, fighting back. Fighting back, you are the cause of action. Your actions caused this lawsuit. Your defamatory statements. Had you left Johnny Depp alone, he would never have sued you. You are responsible, and you have to prove that your allegations are true. Stop trying to shift, blame, and deflect, Amber Heard. Not that she's listening to this, but what do you mean you're fighting back? Like, she's just a mess. And then Amber Heard goes on to say, Mr. Depp has initiated, coordinated, overseen, and or supported and amplified 2 change.org petitions. One to remove Miss Heard as an actress in the Aquaman movie franchise, and one to remove her as a spokesperson for L'Oreal. When it comes to the petition to remove her for Aquaman, sweetie, Johnny didn't make that petition. A girl named Jeannie Larson did. She's on Twitter and she's actually really nice. These are all real human beings that don't like you. Just saying. And then Amber Heard says, Mr. Depp stated that he wanted her replaced on that Warner Brothers film. Only him and the rest of the world, sweetie. And then Amber goes on to say, the use of fake signatures on these petitions is well outside the skill set of the average internet troll or disgruntled fan. They reflect a concerted effort to damage Miss Heard. And then to that I respond, wow, this narcissistic piece of work. She really in her own head thinks that all those signatures are fake and everybody loves her and this is just a plot. Johnny is just, sitting around buying Russian bots. Doesn't she remember what happened during the UK trial? She would get booed constantly. Anytime she came or went or left or went anywhere, people were booing her. People don't like you. That's the public perception. Even when she did her press conference at the end, people were booing. Are those people Russian bots? No. Get it through your head. People are pissed at you. People don't like you. Rather than taking accountability and trying to fix it, she's just trying to say, oh no, they're fake. It's a classic narcissistic thing. They're never wrong. It's always everyone else that's crazy. It's always everyone else that's the problem. It's never them. Spoken like a true motherfucking narcissist. Amber Heard goes on to say, there are a number of newly created foreign language accounts specifically or predominantly designed to damage Miss Heard. Many of these accounts have Cyrillic signatures reflecting Russian origin. Mr. Waldman, Mr. Depp's agent and attorney, is publicly associated with Russian individuals with the capability to organize such attacks. So she's basically accusing a lawyer, Adam Waldman, of going to what is she insinuating? A Russian mob to make bot accounts to troll her? Girl, not at his hourly rate. And then Amber Heard goes on to say, without this case, Mr. Depp's attempts to keep this matter in the press world would amount to nothing more than a 4-year-old stale story that has been rehashed ad nauseum. He would be wholly unable to generate any interest from the public, and thus without recourse to pursue his bitter obsession with destroying Miss Heard. Movie studios and brands do not tend to care about issues they have no reason to think the public cares about. But if Mr. Depp can generate the impression that viewers and consumers do care by fomenting a fantasy of online outrage and hatred for Miss Heard, and its relevance animated by press coverage and news around this case, his fixation can continue to gain ground. Once again, she just can't handle that people are a fan of Johnny Depp. He's been beloved for decades. So she just can't wrap her head around that maybe people really just love Johnny Depp. Shocker. And to me, this paragraph gave me the impression that these cases have in fact affected her employability. And that's why she's trying to get in front of everything and saying it's all bots. And saying if Johnny can make the impression, she's trying to say it's all a conspiracy to deflect from the fact that the public doesn't want to see her, hear her, or know her. And that way, if her current employers, for example, L'Oreal or Warner Brothers, express their concern over the public backlash, she can simply respond, oh no, they're just Russian bots, it's a conspiracy. So I'm guessing that she did get some kind of pushback from, her current employers. And this is her way of just kind of getting in front of it. Oh, no, just it's fake. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm getting from this, because it's very interesting that she brought that up. So yeah, that makes me think there's something going on behind the scenes to get rid of her if she doesn't redeem herself. And these are the actions of someone with nothing to lose but to kind of double down on her innocence. And when someone is exposed for being a predator, they need to face, this is my personal opinion, they need to face some kind of repercussions. And the accusations alone from Amber when it came to Johnny Depp was enough for him to lose his Pirates of the Caribbean role and probably many other roles too. So the double standard is just out of this world. All the evidence that has been shown against Amber Heard, all the statements, all the audio revealed, and still, they are refusing to remove Amber Heard. Hollywood is full of beautiful women, many much prettier than her and much less abusive than her. I'm not sure why L'Oreal and Warner Brothers specifically just won't let her go and call it a day. Because they're the ones that are going to suffer. She's going to make her money. She's got her set amounts. And say they release Aquaman, 500,000 less people will watch it. Or who knows, maybe even more. Do you know what I mean? Like this, it's going to lose them. But I'm thinking maybe they're just so confident that Aquaman had made $1 billion. They're probably thinking, oh, what's a million less of $1 billion? But I think only time will speak for itself. There's definitely going to be a loss for them. It's not going to be what it was. It'll just be interesting to see just how big of a loss that Aquaman will take. And then Amber Heard goes on to say, another step in Mr. Depp's plan to harass and intimidate Miss Heard is evident in his recent joining of Instagram on or about April 17th, 2020. Although a typical user, even a celebrity, typically builds up a follower base rather slowly, Mr. Depp reported that he had over 176,000 followers within 15 minutes and 3 million followers within 24 hours of joining Instagram. And, to that I would say, again, you're showing your ass as a narcissist and the way to make everything about you. Johnny probably got on Instagram to stay in touch with his fans, just like most celebrities do, not to intimidate you or harass you. And there's nothing harassing about his feed. In fact, he barely posts. And his first post, I seem to recall, being about, the current pandemic. Clearly, Amber's just stalking his feed, and she's so competitive. She's obviously upset that he got more followers than I think she does, period, in a matter of a day. And so of course she has to try to talk herself out of that, or he just bought followers, like. And even if he did, who cares? At the end of the day, why is that something that you're going to put into your legal document? And you don't have any, number one, proof of that, and number two, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? Really, honestly. And then Amber Heard goes on to say, fundamentally, and contrary to the premise of Depp's defamation claim, the op-ed was not about Depp or his violent conduct against Miss Heard. It was about Miss Heard and what happened to her after she came forward. Based on her experiences as a woman who had reported a man for violence, the op-ed described how institutions protect men accused of abuse and how society reacts wrathfully to women who speak out. And to that I would say, well, what happened exactly to Amber after she spoke out? She received a $7 million settlement. She had her face plastered all over the front page of tabloids around the world and became essentially a household name. She got bigger and better movie roles. She became an ambassador for L'Oreal and a figure representing abuse, as she so eloquently describes it. Her star power greatly increased. Her income as a result increased. I mean, obviously she got Aquaman and Justice League as a role, which was unheard of for her to ever get such a huge role. So there's no way that she did not financially benefit from this accusation from Johnny. Like, there's no way. And the greatest benefit was her career, that her star power did rise after the accusation. And Amber Heard goes on to say, months later, Depp proved Ms. Heard's point about powerful men accused of violence, sparing nothing to punish and harass their accusers when he filed his defamation lawsuit on March 1st, 2019, alleging that Ms. Heard's op-ed in the Washington Post defames Depp. It does not. To that, I would respond, okay, Amber, prove that it's not defamation. Prove that your allegations are true. That's the whole point of this case. The burden of proof is on you, whether you file a counterclaim or not, or how many times you try to dismiss the action. That burden is not just gonna go away. You know? If you think it doesn't prove it. Put your money where your mouth is. Literally, put the evidence where your mouth is. Do something. You can't just keep talking out of your ass and think you're going to get your way, sweetie. No, that's exactly why this has escalated into a court case. Because there's no getting anything through to your thick skull. So Johnny had no choice but to take it to the court. Because the court can enforce things, the court can, the court has authority over you. Whether you want to admit it, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, the court has authority over you. So you need to play by the rules and prove your allegations. You saying that it doesn't defame Johnny Depp is not evidence. Okay? That is your opinion. Where's the facts, sweetie? Then Amber Heard goes on to say, on July 2nd, 2019, Depp, through Waldman, told the Blast News that Ms. Heard went to court with painted-on bruises to obtain a temporary restraining order on May 27th. The next day, Waldman continued Depp's defamation of Ms. Heard when he stated to People magazine that Ms. Heard's battered face was a hoax. Sweetie, battered face, it looked like a pimple or I don't know, like maybe a filler injection or something when you got a little bit of bruising. Battered face, my ass. Like you would have had like some kind of swelling. There was nothing. There was no swelling. It looked like a pimple, okay? And I would say, sorry, Amber, but when you make an allegation against someone and they are defending themselves, again, I'm going to reiterate, they're defending themselves, that doesn't count as defamation. Nice try, though. And then Amber Heard goes on to say, in this counterclaim, Ms. Heard seeks a judicial declaration that her op-ed is not actionable. It is protected by Virginia's anti-SLAPP statute, Virginia Code 8.01-233.2, and Ms. Heard is entitled to reasonable attorney fees and costs, pursuant to Virginia Code 8.01-233.2. To that I would say clearly the op-ed is actionable, as the action was able to commence and has survived her multiple attempts to have it thrown out, despite stating that she will not be silenced by Johnny Depp. If she's not going to be silenced, why does she want to silence Johnny, in fact? Why does she want this case to go away so badly if she's got nothing to hide, and if she will not be silenced and would love to prove and exonerate herself in a court of law? If Johnny is in fact lying, as she states, why wouldn't she want to be able to prove that to the world? Why does she constantly try to have this thrown out? And why does she not want Johnny to find out if she donated her divorce settlement or not? Her actions don't align with her words, and it doesn't take a genius or a legal professional to see that. As time goes on, her believability gets weaker and weaker and weaker, and I believe as time goes on, she's also going to get more desperate and more aggressive, and she's going to try crazier and crazier things, Then Amber Heard goes on to say, Ms. Heard further seeks to restore the balance of truth and fight back as the victim of domestic abuse and violence, and take a stand against this continuing and unrelenting abuse. Ms. Heard seeks compensatory damages and punitive damages from Depp for his false and defamatory statements, and for the harassment and abuse of computers and computer-accessed media, as set forth in this counterclaim. And again, I would have to say, responding to your allegations and trying to prove them false is not defamation or abuse. And if you're so interested in restoring the balance of truth, then why won't you let this case, or don't you want this case to play out in a court of law? You know, again, not really adding up. Nor is Johnny Depp responsible for what other random people say on the internet about you. You brought that on yourself. And now the public perception has shifted about you due to the evidence proving you're not the victim that you claim to be. You have a problem with it. And then Amber Heard goes on to say, Ms. Heard requests that this court, pursuant to Virginia Code 8.01-184 et sequitur, declare that she is immune from civil liability for Depp's claims in his complaint and for her statements in her op-ed, because Ms. Heard's op-ed is regarding matters of public concern, would be protected under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution made by Ms. Heard that are communicated to a third party. To that I would say, I'm so frustrated by this, but just because she really thinks that she's going to be granted immunity. Like, you think, like, immune, like, this is not a venereal disease. This is a court case. You cannot just be immune. And this case is not a matter of public concern, okay? This does not affect the public as a whole. The outcome does not. You know, what that is talking about is public concern, things that will affect the public at large. At the end of the day, yes, people are invested because either they're, you know, a fan of Johnny, or unfortunately for them, they might be a fan of you, or whatever the case may be. There might be personally invested, but they're not going to be affected by the outcome of the case. And that is exactly what this is referring to. There's no absolute grounds where a civilian should be granted immunity from being held Sorry, I just got too heated there. There's no grounds for you to ever be immune from having someone else sue you civilly because they think you owe them money. Like, that's just not how the world works. Otherwise, you know, everyone would be asking for that. Like, corporations, everybody would just be up in asking the judge for this immunity. That's not how it works. Like a diplomat or something, you can have like a diplomatic immunity or something, or or immunity if you were like undercover or something, or you were performing duties that were under something. I don't know, but it's just not in your case. Sorry. Then Amber Heard goes on to say, Depp's statements and accusations of criminal conduct, including perjury and fraud by Ms. Heard, and defamatory and defamatory per se, are defamatory and defamatory per se, because they impute the commission of a crime for which, if true, and they are not, Ms. Heard could be indicted and punished. Ms. Heard, therefore, is entitled to have damages presumed. To that I'd say, how about we finish the court case, review all the testimony and evidence, and then decide if a crime was committed. You don't get just to say, I was damages, presume damages, nobody's going to presume anything. This is a court case. Everything should be tried and found out and evaluated as to the accuracy of the evidence. The court is not going to presume anything. That's the entire point of going to court and suing somebody. So both sides can present their evidence, and the trier of fact, which is either the judge or the jury, will decide which testimony is accurate. There is no presuming. No, girl, we've already come this far. Then Amber Heard goes on to say, by publishing these false and defamatory statements, Depp caused and intended to cause harm to Ms. Heard's reputation. At the time of publication, Depp and Waldman, acting on Depp's behalf, knew these statements were false. To that I would say, Johnny's intention was not to cause harm to Amber, but to try to salvage the damage she caused to his reputation by making these allegations. To try to salvage the reputation, like all the jobs that he lost, his even kids were getting like made fun of at school and stuff, saying that their dad's a wife beater. There's nothing defamatory about defending yourself. Clearly, he does not think these statements are false, and now neither does most of the world, because he has evidence backing up his side. So now the ball's in your court. What evidence do you have, if any? Because we are dying to see it. We would love to see it. So yeah, that's about all the excerpts that I had. I mean, it was all bullshit, in my opinion. There's so many things I could refer to, but those were the main ones that kind of jumped out to me. And I think I mentioned in my last video, her evidence of the defamation was just like articles and things, and like nothing to do with Johnny Depp, and also like whatever statements that someone's lawyer makes while in a court case in defense of their client is not defamation, because he's literally defending his client. Do you know what I mean? That's what lawyers do. They make statements saying that the other side's lying. That's not defamation. So I don't know what to tell her, but yeah, so I guess that's it. It was a little bit of a longer one, but yeah, let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Love to see it, and let's talk about it. But yeah, I hope you have a great day, evening, afternoon, whatever it is, and that you're safe and doing happy, hanging in there. Apparently Johnny has recently responded. I will make a video on that as well as soon as I can. I've just been dealing with some personal stuff. Well, not really. I'm just looking for a job, basically. But yeah. So yeah, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.